it's HeySofia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are doing episode 2 of our Subs Around the World series, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a Japanese house. So today's Japanese house I've based on my own experiences in Japan, as well as just doing a bunch of researching online. I have gone for a more modern, average, everyday Japanese suburban house that you see now. But a lot of these Japanese houses will pay like a little tribute to tradition. So we're going to have a few traditional things throughout the house and the exterior, but then also have a bit of the modern as well and try and show best what they typically have in Japan these days. The first things we're going to do though is build the base of my house. Now we are building actually a foundation and building one block up inside the house today, and that is because Japanese houses typically have an entrance area when you first enter. This is called a genkan, and this is simply where you take off your shoes, hang up coats, anything like that, put on your house slippers. You don't actually wear shoes inside the house in Japan anyway. You wear slippers around the house, even going into the toilet you have toilet slippers. So we're building one block higher because we will be stepping up into the house area like you do in Japan. Now this is a complete floor plan for the bottom story. Now we are doing the inside floor plan as well because for my wall material today I am doing the white concrete powder. Now the reason for this is I really like the texture of it, and it's similar to kind of the boards that they use to make houses in Japan. And that's kind of why I'm going for it now. If you don't want to be fussing around with worrying about concrete powder like falling, or you're playing in survival and you're worried about rain and it all turning to like solid concrete, then just go for like plain concrete, or you could use bone block or anything like that. But I just really like the texture that the white concrete powder has, and it's similar to the boards and the materials that they use on the outside of a Japanese house. I'm just placing some doors at the moment to kind of mimic sliding doors, so I'm going for the birch doors today, and I've just placed them throughout the house. And before we build the walls up, we're also going to place our windows because, like I said, I am working with white concrete powder which will fall. I'm just going for a light grey today because I like the contrasting colours between the stone brick for our base and then the white concrete powder for our walls, so I think the light grey is kind of like a nice in-between colour of the two. Now the windows I'm just placing on rooms which will be lived in. You wouldn't typically have windows in a bathroom area in Japan. In the outside bathroom, which I'll explain a bit, you would, but not really in those kind of private areas. Now I'm just building a little feature bit at the moment as well. Now our floors I did build 5 blocks high for the first story, and our second story you will be building 4 blocks high. Now the reason we built 5 blocks high for the first story is because we will need to create a ceiling and then have a floor on top of the ceiling. So 5 blocks gives us enough space to do that. And simply the reason for this is because we want to be putting some wood flooring throughout the house and also a tatami mat thing up the top. And you don't really want to see the base of the wood on the ceiling, so we're just doing a quartz slab ceiling here, which you do 4 blocks high, like you can see, so just above the windows there. And then on top of this you can just do a slab, or you can do a full block of whatever blocks that you would like. Now I'm going to be doing this the whole way around, and also the second story of our house will not be covering the whole of the first story. I'll be showing the floor plan in a second so you can see it a lot better. But for our flooring we're just going to be doing a mix of the oak block and the birch block. The birch block is going to be representing our tatami mat rooms. Now if you are playing in 1.13 you have these stripped birch bark block, and that would be a lot better for flooring for tatami mats, but at the moment we don't have that, so birch will do. And then for my normal flooring around the house I am using the oak. Wood floors is typically what I saw everywhere that I was in Japan. A lot of the apartments all have wood flooring. My homestay family, when I stayed in their house, they have a really old traditional Japanese house, and then they also have some modern houses that they built on their property. Both of those had wood flooring as well, so you do want to do wood flooring throughout the base of your house. But that is the second story house plan. Now you can see there's that big area to the side, and that's because we're actually building a roof there. We're not going to be building up on that second floor bit there. Like I said though, you gotta remember we do want this house to kind of feel cramped and small because of space. Something else I have done here as well, I made a little balcony, and this is because in Japan they do typically have a large balcony if they do have a house like this. The reason for this is kind of like even in old traditional houses, you would open up sliding doors onto a big space to hang like your futon mattresses and stuff like that. It's the same thing in modern Japan. They will typically have, I'm just putting a barrier block here as well, just so our concrete powder doesn't fall. But yeah, so they do have big balconies on these houses in Japan, and that's just so they can hang a lot of washing. They can also air out their futon mattresses, because you do need to air out your futon mattresses as well in Japan. But we're just going to fill in the walls now, and I'm going 4 blocks the whole way around. Let's speed up here. There we go. So that's 4 blocks high for the second story, and then 5 blocks for the first. Now I did go ahead and change it slightly, so instead of being sticking out, I just did 1 block instead, and then I just placed the doors on the outside just so it's a little bit thinner in our rooms. Like I said, rooms in Japan can be a little bit cramped because space, so we're just trying to make our rooms feel a little bit bigger as well. Inside these wardrobes, I've just put some simple shelving in there, and that's because typically at the end of a day in Japan, you would pack up your futon if you did have a futon bed, fold it away and put it in there once you're up for the morning, or bring it out in the evening. So you just want to make sure you've got lots of shelving in your wardrobe areas. Next thing I'm going to do is just add a window up the top here, and then we'll also add a entryway down the bottom. Just put some glass up there too. But I quickly sped up ahead and just did my flooring on the inside. You can see what I mean by this step up bit. So all I did was put oak flooring throughout the inside. And I've got birch here for a tatami mat room at the front. In the kitchen here, the little kitchen dining area, I've got oak, I've got tiles in the bathroom. I've also got, let's just fix that, there we go. I've also got tiles in the second bathroom area, tiles in the toilet room here. And next to the toilet room, we have our staircase. Now for the staircase today, I'm going with the oak staircase just to match it. Now this may look really thin and kind of rickety, and that's what I'm wanting to go for. If you go to a lot of old houses in Japan, you'll notice they have these really steep staircases. They're very prominent, especially in like the old castles around Japan. And even my homestay's house, they have a very steep staircase in their house. So I'm kind of going for that steep staircase look that's only 1 block wide, because you can't really fit 2 people on those staircases both ways. Now we're going to start doing our roof details, and we're going to be trying to do kind of like the old Japanese style roof in a modern way. A lot of the ways that they do this now in Japan is actually make them hipped. So in a way that's kind of like you're doing a normal roof, but then on the trimmings down the side, they'll have the little details that you'll see on Japanese traditional roofs. You'll kind of see it once I'm doing it. But all I've done is I've added 2 triangles at this end and then matching down the other. One opposite, which you can see over there as well. But what we're going to do is just do our normal roof like this, and then we're going to do the same over here. So just instead of it being 2, we're just going to go staircase and slabs along the top here, staircase slab. We have done 3 blocks high on this, well 2 blocks high on this side as well, because we want to match the roof that we're joining to. That way it's even and it's not mismatching or anything like that. You just want to join it up to the roof that we did first, just like this, and just remove any of the blocks as we go. So once you finish joining up your roof like normal, you'll have something like this. What you then want to do is grab like your chisel kind of like stone brick block and just place it along the edge of the actual building of the house, just like I'm doing here, and you get this nice kind of like hip detail, which is what I was meaning. Now we're going to run that along the whole top of the house like this. Just like that, and it just adds like a nice little nod to like old traditional Japanese style, and this is something that you will see in Japan if you do go look at houses in the area. Once that is done though, we're then going to do the same on this side here, so just all along the top. Now you can fill it completely in, but I think it looks better without, which I'll show in a second. You might want to just fill it in completely like the first bit there. We'll do that quickly. But I think it doesn't really make sense because you kind of want to show off the detail. So if I speed up ahead and I'll cut it out, there we go. That looks a lot more like traditional. And then we're then just going to do it all along the edges just like this too. There we go. We might also place some slabs on this one just so it's a little bit more curved looking as well. Just like this, to there, and then slab, slab, and slab. Finally, we're just going to make it a bit more curved up the top here, just to make it look a bit more flowing. But that's your roof. Now, it's really, really easy to do. You can do bigger roofs than this, but on a really small house, you don't want to be doing a really, really traditional Japanese roof, especially because they'll need to come out a lot. It can just look a little bit funky. Now on this side bit here, all we're doing is just a more basic roof, just some slabs, and we're going just like basically 3 floor blocks high. Now because of the way that a slab roof kind of like this works, you can't really place the full blocks along the edges. It's gonna look a little bit funny. I'll show you in a second what I mean. Okay, there we go. Now if we put the full chiseled stone brick like this, you can see it looks a bit odd because it won't really work. So I think the best way for this little side bit, we're just going to place some slabs like that, and that just gives a nice nod to the style as well. But that is our roofing done, and we're going to do some little details underneath, like some little iron trapdoors, just to add a little trim. Now you can see I've got some lighting issues there, which I'm not sure why all of a sudden. I did try to fix it, but I couldn't, so we're going with it today. But we're doing just little trims like that. Also along the balcony railing here, we're adding a little trim just for a bit more detail. We're going to add some little covers over the window. Things like covers and sliders on traditional, on like Japanese house windows are very common, so we're also doing that just to do details. I'm also going to be doing some like little gusses along the front and the side. This is actually something you'll see a lot of on Japanese houses. They will have a lot of gusses on them. I'm not quite sure why, but even if you do a Google search, you will see houses will have like several gusses running along them. But I sped up ahead and just finished doing the rest of my window coverings and also my little details there. Now finally, what we're going to do is the exterior fence of the house, and I'll go through a little bit more, but then I'm going to speed up and the gardens and the interiors will be finished and I will talk you through it. Now for the fencing, like I've said throughout the whole video, in Japan you don't have a lot of space. People don't really have big gardens. Typically you might just have like a little garden at the front and that's all you'll have. Grass is like a really big thing if you do have a grassed area in Japan, so we're going to kind of go for a mixed, but today we're going to kind of do a mix and just have a house with a little bit more land because it's just kind of a nice kind of like in between to show you guys. But you can see I don't have a lot of space at all, and that's kind of what the houses in the suburbs are like that over there. Now I'm doing a stone fence because that's what you would typically see in Japan. It's kind of like a nod as well to the old walls that they had in traditional homes and castles and stuff like that. So I've gone for a very simple kind of wall garden thing around my house. And the final thing I'm doing is a very simple carport, and this is because in Japan they don't really have garages. At least when I was there, all the houses that I went to and all the houses that I saw, I never saw a garage the whole time I was in Japan. They just typically have a carport to cover the car out the front of the house. I'm not sure why, but I guess it's just something that isn't really fully there yet, at least in the areas that I went to all around Japan. So there's our little carport, and final thing we're going to do is just a little kind of path out the front. We're going to just match with the polished andesite that we used on the balcony and also inside the house. Just like this. I kind of like the polished kind of like tile stone look that it has, and I think that's kind of similar to some things that I saw in Japan as well. We're going to just make a driveway here, just all under the carport, and we're also going to make a lot of stone areas around the front of the house because that's what they typically have, and then a few little garden beds, but I'll speed up and show you that in a second. Okay, so here is my finished house, which I have done. You can see my exterior gardens are really simple. I've just got lots of trees and little pots and stuff like that. Something I saw a lot in Japan is they had a lot of pots, but I guess that's because they love to garden a lot. I have also made a little kind of like rough messy veggie patch here. Especially if you go to the countryside in Japan, you'll notice that a lot of people will farm their own vegetables and herbs and things like that. My Japanese homestay family, they had a really big garden in their house, and we would go around to other farmers and they would give us stuff too. Now this is my entrance here. You can see I've got a little shoe rack so you can take your shoes off and put on your house slippers. I've got some hooks as well. Now you will notice throughout the house I have a lot of paintings, and that's just because it gives it like a really nice homey feel, and it's something that I really felt when I went into people's houses in Japan. It's really like homey and cozy, and I wanted to try and replicate that. In this room to the front here is my kind of traditional tatami mat living room. Now this can be an area where the family can eat and watch TV, or they could just have dinner and dine. I also have to the side here my little shrine area. Now whenever I went into someone's house in Japan, they did have this as an area. Not everyone's house will, but some do. Typically you have like offerings to family members who have passed, so you'll have food and pictures of them and stuff like that. Now in this dining and kitchen area, I do have a kind of like normal everyday table, but you're more than welcome to change this to a traditional on the floor table. A few things about Japanese kitchens is 1, they have a lot of storage areas and cabinets. 2, they typically have a stainless steel bench top. 3, they always have a rice cooker, which is what my little quartz slab there is for. And 4, I have a big sink to replicate a big cauldron to replicate a big sink. In my toilet here, I've got a sink at the back to act as like a smart toilet sink that they have at the back. Now my bathroom is split into 2 sections. The first is like the hand washing and also the laundry. The second section is the bath and the cleaning section. These typically have no windows in them at all. They're a complete wet room. You would sit on your stool here and shower, and then once you're clean, you then hop into the bath in the evening to just relax and chill out. So I've built a traditional bathroom there. Now if we go upstairs, I kept it very simple here too. Now each bedroom I basically kept the same, but you could change these if you didn't want them to be bedrooms to offices or anything like that. Now, I've just got some very simple furnishings because you don't really want a lot on the tatami mats, and I just have some carpet to replicate some futon beds. Now if you did want to have normal beds in here, something that they will do in Japan is just put a carpet underneath the furniture. So if you did want to do a desk or a normal bed, if you just put some carpet underneath or some wool where you would like a carpet and then place the furniture on the wool, that's kind of how they like protect the tatami mat. So put carpets and rugs on it and stuff like that. But there you go, you guys. There is how to build a Japanese house in Minecraft. I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of my Subs Around the World series. Comment down below what country are you from and where would you like me to build. I've got quite a few suggestions I need to get through, but I've had a lot of fun building today's. But like always guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you.